What's going on, YouTube? So, I was thinking earlier about religion and belief systems and matrix and everything. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about astrology and the study of planets, and I think it's kind of crazy how, like, whenever you listen to religion and in the book, it tells you about revelations. It tells you about, things that happen with revelation. Like, the word revelation means to reveal. So when people hear about revelations, they think like it's doomsday and stuff. And it's actually just a change in nature. That's all it really is. And I think it's kind of crazy that, people get so stuck on the poetic words that involves religion and nature and all this other stuff. Anything that happens in nature, they want to say like, oh, God's doing this to us. And it's like, no, it's not. And it's actually related to astrology, and it's related to the ecosystem and space. Crazy thing is, astrology, even though it's a different name, the whole idea of astrology is actually in the Bible. I forgot what the word was, but I mean, if you use any type of technology, you can literally find it yourself. But astrology, who cares about all the personality traits? Astrology is literally just a way to understand the measurements and the movements of the planets and what happens in the solar system. That's all it's really for. That's why a lot of people back in the day would use all that. It's the same idea whenever people would put pictures on the cave, and then, like, generations later would see, and then in order for us to understand, they would say it in a story, and then they would use shapes, which is the shape that's on the wall, so we can understand the concept. That's really just what it is. That's usually how astrology is brought to us, so we can understand, because the whole entirety of the universe, we can't comprehend it, because for one, it's too big, and it's too many variables. It's just too much, so our brains wouldn't be able to comprehend it. So that's why we put things in concepts. So I think it's kind of crazy how, a lot of people think that, the end times are coming, and it's like, it's not the end times. It's only the end of the way of life on how it was and how it's going to be later on. And it's funny because a lot of people who are in high places, I think it's dumb. I think this is really dumb, and I think it's dumb that you guys fall for it a lot. If you look at The Simpsons, I'm scattered around, but if you look at The Simpsons, people literally kept saying like, oh, they predict all these things that's going on, all this stuff's going on. They didn't predict anything. The people who made The Simpsons are in the same know as the knowing as everyone else who's in those high places. They already know what's going on. Okay, they already know, and everything's being planned. Everything is. Okay, if you guys look at the book Morals and Dogma, the author of that book already said what was going to happen with war. Said that the third war was going to be like how it is today, and it wasn't because of prediction or prophecy. It was literally because these people who are inside closed doors are planning all this shit, and they are saying this is what we want to have happen. Every season, every year, every time that passes by is being calculated, and the only reason why it's able to happen because you have more and more people who are in charge of doing it. It's not one person, it's not two, it's not one family, it's not three families. It's an organization with different sectors that are doing it. I don't know who they are. I don't care to know. But I'm saying I can see the bullshit, right? So what am I saying? Everything that's going on right now, when it comes to everything, is being timed with nature, okay? All the religious texts, all the religious books that tell you like, oh, these are the end time, things are going to happen. We're not going to get destroyed. Okay, I'm not saying that war is not going to happen, but I'm saying there's going to be a change. There's not going to be an extinction. It's just going to be a change. whenever, and the crazy thing is, another individual has already talked about this. I think his name is Graham Hancock or something. The world tends to go through this every 12,000 years or so, 6 to 12,000 years or so. I don't really remember, but this happens to the earth a lot. Okay. After like 12,000 years, if I believe that's the time, the earth actually changes. Buildings that used to be here go underground, and then people rebuild again. It's literally what nature does. It's not necessarily God. And honestly, I don't really want to talk about God, because if we do, we have to talk about what God really is. So people want to say the bed is God, or nature is God, or the universe is. So let's just say this. The way that things are working, everything is timed, and everything's always in a, how do I say it? Everything's always in a period of transition. And that's usually what nature is. Nature tends to change. So when you have people who are in high-end places who understand the occult, and they understand nature, and they understand astrology and all this other occult stuff, they're able to time, when they control the whole world, they're able to time disasters with nature, so everything can happen all at once. It's not necessarily that God's trying to punish anyone, and people are trying to use poetic words to make that seem true to your consciousness, to your perception, and it's not true. So there is a period where if you look at the god Shiva, right? Shiva dances with destruction. There's always a beginning, there's always a growth period, and there's always destruction. And that's what reality is. That's part of what reality is. And that's what the change is. Okay? Whatever is being built will stand, and eventually it will fall. That's how life goes. Just how whenever you're born, you live and you die. It's the same thing. That's the nature of, that's part of the nature of life. There's other natures of life that play a part. But when you have intelligent people at the top who understand these hidden philosophies, they can time everything with nature. They already knew that this was going to happen. Like the sun, supposedly the sun is supposed to be sending out a flare. It's kind of funny how it's happening right now. And that flare is supposed to destroy our electronics. It's getting too hot. And I think it's kind of crazy, because a lot of people say like, oh, God's going to, rain down on people who don't belong here. Whoever was last will be first, and whoever was first will be last. It's not God doing it. Okay, if you are not in tune with nature, you are going to crumble, basically. And we are not in tune with nature. Okay, when they say like Jesus is going to come down and like they're going to punish all the wicked and shit, what it is that if you're not part of nature on different levels, you're not going to survive. If you look at the Bible, it's literally talking about your skin. It's talking about your blood. It's talking about who you are as a person, and it's literally telling you about the universe itself. But it's telling you in a poetic way, and only certain people can understand it, because they're not trying to give out the truth, and plus they're also trying to manipulate you at the same time. So everything is being calculated with nature. So if things are going on, so look, when all this bullshit happens with doomsday or at the end of the world, for one, a lot of people are manipulating you guys. Not everyone's going to die. Only some people will, but it's not what you think. Whatever you read from the Bible, it's not what you think it's going to be. Okay? When the old life is going to die off, it's usually a new life will begin. That's usually what it's going to be. And I personally think that this has actually happened before, which it has with nature, because nature does this. It goes through a period where it goes through a catharsis period where things become like, if you fast, when you fast, you actually clean out dead cells. That's what's going on Earth right now. It has nothing to do with the whole idea of what God is. It has everything to do with the fact that we live in the nature where everything's born, lives, and dies. Okay, everything gets transferred to something else. That's what's going on. You have all these people out here who have decided to play with your imagination and put poetic words and images in your head to make you think that it's prophecy. It never was. This is something that happens by nature. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay? When people talk about the Son of God, God is the universe. But at a young age, I knew who the sun was, and it was the one that was in the sky. The sun is going to burn everything down, our electronics, because it's not a part of nature. Whatever is a part of nature is going to still stand. That's the doomsday BS. That's why they're trying to change the weather. That's why they're trying to make everything more colder than warm. That's why they're trying to do all that shit, because nature is going through a catharsis. It's been going through a catharsis for the past 10 years. It's just getting more frequent and more worse. That's why we're having more tornadoes. That's why the sun's getting hotter. That's what happens. Okay? So I'm coming to a point of view that a lot of it is just bullshit, and a lot of people are believing it. And it's not. You got to get out of the whole childhood mindset that, oh yeah, God's gonna have trumpets being whatever, and then no, that's not what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I think all the religion shit, every religious book is telling you the truth. A lot of things have been taken out, but at the end of the day, even though they have their own merit and they have their own truth, a lot of it is used to manipulate you. A lot of truth is in the Bible, but the way they tell you is exaggeration. It's a lie, and you have to learn on how to decipher through that BS. Okay, whatever it is that you think the Bible is, and it's more of a cartoonish imagination. Oh, this is going to happen. If it's never happened in nature before, then it's not going to happen now. And if it did happen in nature, what caused it? And I guarantee you it's not some supernatural thing. It's literally because of how nature works. When they say that our environment is getting warmer and, it's because of our fossil fuels, or it's because of, the things that they tell you see, this is the crazy thing. We're being told about how we should change our habits with the earth. We're being told this, but they're not telling you the reason why the earth is getting hotter is because the sun is actually getting warmer, because it's a period that the sun goes through. The sun has been sending flares for a while now. For the past couple of years, it's been getting hotter, right? And what if I told you that the whole field that's around Earth literally intentionally gets weaker around this time, and it has very little to do with what we've been doing on this planet? I'm not saying like it's fully true, but what if I were to tell you that these people know what nature does, and instead of you guys believing, oh, God hates us, we need to repent, we need to do all this stuff, it's really not that. It's not. All the other people in the world who are not, which I think we're not civilized. I think they're more civilized than us. But all the people who are in the woods, who are on those islands where they are not to be bothered by government orders, they actually know what happens because they have the shit written on their wall inside their caves, being told every certain amount of time this happens to the earth. So you have people out here who like to be on TV, and they want to tell you global warming's happening. It's all because of what we do here. It's all because of what we do there. It's all because of what we do over here on the west, on the south. That's actually not true. Maybe there's a little effect because of it, but we are not intrinsically the reason on why the earth is warming up. It's actually, I would say, at least 70 to 80%. The reason why is because the earth is going to do this, and it's going to do this all the time, whether we like it or not. And that's why I'm telling you that you're being bullshitted, because you think it's because of you need to repent, or because God said this. No, What if I told you no matter how good we are, no matter how good we're going to be, this is always going to happen. It's never going to stop. The same natural things that happen to the earth and the universe surrounding the earth is the same thing that happens inside of our body. And everyone is trying to forgive. Everyone's trying to do the only reason why I think forgiveness should work and we all need to be, good to each other so we can cooperate. So not too many people do die, that we all tend to survive it, because it is going to be an event. You see what I'm saying? But that's what you're not picking up on. It's not because we're guilty. It's not because we didn't repent. It's not because of that. It's literally because of this is what the earth does. We're on clock. That's what we're on. Food for thought.